Hello everybody, how is it going? It is Tyler here, and welcome to Zone In Sports. Second video on the channel. If you missed the first one, we went over some futures bets, some win totals and stuff for the upcoming 2022 college football season. And in today's video, we will be zoning in on the lines for week 1. That's right, we're going to go through some games, obviously not all of them, there's way too many for all of that. Definitely got, I think, around 20 games or so that I will be going over though. So, yeah, buckle in. We're going to go ahead and get straight into it. Thursday, the backyard brawl. We got Pitt against West Virginia. Pitt is at home, favored by 7.5 points. And the over-under there is 50.5. Now, this is the first time that these two teams have played since 2011. They both used to be in the Big East back in the day. Used to always be some solid matchups. Lots of fun games to watch back then, so it's nice to see the backyard brawl. Get back to it. Interesting thing here in this matchup, you have Keaton Slovis, the transfer from USC, is now starting for Pitt. Now starting for West Virginia is JT Daniels, who used to be at USC, and then he transferred from there to go to Georgia, and that's when Slovis took over as USC starter. And then Daniels then can't beat out Stetson Bennett for that Georgia job, and he eventually ends up at West Virginia. And here we go, two former USC guys are going to start against each other now. But yeah, looking at some trends, West Virginia is 10-3 against the spread in their last 13 September games, 9-4 straight up their last 13 on Thursday, and 2-5 against the spread their last 7 against ACC opponents. Pittsburgh 3-7 their last 10 Week 1 games against the spread, 8-1 straight up their last 9 in September, and 1-7 straight up their last 8 against the Big 12. So it looks like they've been struggling against the Big 12 lately. But probably some tougher quality opponents than West Virginia here. Now, I do like West Virginia this season. I took their over of 5.5 wins, I believe it was at. So I do lean towards West Virginia covering the 7.5 here. I see them keeping it within a touchdown. I'm not actually going to make this pick, but I wanted to go over this game because it is one of the better games of the weekend, and we get it going Thursday night with it, so should be a good game to watch. Leaning towards the West Virginia plus 7.5, but not officially taking anything there. Not going to mess with the total at 50.5 either. But if I like West Virginia, that means that I'd like them to keep up with Pitt, which you would assume would then go over that 50. So we'll go ahead and move on since I don't actually have a pick there. Just want to get some info out there on the good games, of course. We'll actually have a pick on this one, another Thursday game. Penn State is -3.5 at Purdue. And the over-under is 52.5. Their last matchup was in 2019 when Penn State won 35-7 over Purdue. That was at Penn State. So they don't play every year because they are in separate conferences of the separate divisions, that is, of the Big Ten Conference. There we go. So yeah, speaking of the conference, it's a Big Ten matchup to start the year, so that's pretty solid. Crazy for Penn State. Sean Clifford, man, still at quarterback. Seems like he's been there for so long now. They are 9-2 against the spread their last 11 September games. 9-4 in the last 13 against Big Ten, and 9-0 straight up the last 9 against Purdue. The road team is 6-1 against the spread in the last 8 of these head-to-heads. The under is 9-2 the last 12 of the head-to-head. Purdue's unders are 5-1 their last 6 September games. And then also with Purdue, they are 3-6 against the spread their last 9 at home. So pretty much if you're going to mess with the total here, you want to go under. All of Penn State's trends say under. The head-to-head had a solid under trend there that I said, as well as Purdue. 5 of their last 6 September games go under. I'm not going to officially make a play on that, but that's where I'd lean under 52.5. Where my play will be actually is going to be Penn State. I do like the minus 3.5, but I actually am going to take them money line in a 2-leg parlay. So the second leg of that will actually be the next game we talk about, so hold on tight. And yeah, just know I'm taking Penn State money line in a parlay. I definitely love them to cover that 3.5 though. If you want to just straight that, I totally would not be against that. But yeah, Penn State, they should get the job done against Purdue. I'm much higher on them this year than I am Purdue. So we'll move on to Friday now. The second leg of the 2-leg parlay with Penn State money line is going to be in the TCU Colorado game. This one's in Colorado, and we'll go straight to the total because the second leg of that parlay is the under 55.5. So when you put that under 55.5 of that game with the Penn State money line, that gives you a plus 195. That's on FanDuel, by the way. I'm sure you probably figured that out as the screenshots across the screen are from FanDuel. Now remember, these lines can change. They can change from when I screenshotted them, from when I give them out, from whatever the case may be. The lines are going to move, so don't be surprised if it moves. If you have any questions on the movement, just feel free to comment below on the video. Hit me up on Twitter, whatever works, at ZoneInSports. Link in the description. But yeah, further along with this game here, TCU at Colorado. TCU's favored, minus 13.5. I believe they opened at like minus 8 or so, which I would have loved. I would have been all over it. Now it's at 13.5. I still like it, but I'm not confident enough yet. TCU is not too great last year. I'm higher on them this season. Think they'll be much better. If it was at home, I'd lay it for sure, but at Colorado, I'm not sure. Definitely love the under, though. As far as the trends go, you got TCU 1-4 against the spread their last 5 Friday games, so that's tough. But they are 8-0 straight up the last 8 against Pac-12, and 7-0 straight up week 1. But the straight up trends aren't that great when you have to lay 13.5. So if anything, maybe just put that in a teaser, get them down to 8.5, 9.5. Would not be against that at all. Colorado 2-7-1 against the spread their last 10 against the Big 12. That definitely puts you in TCU's favor there. And also, don't forget, Colorado used to be in the Big 12, so some of these teams are pretty familiar with. The under has went 5-1 the last 6 of their non-conference games, and the under has also went 6-1 their last 7 week 1 games. Unders hit 5 of the last 7 of their home games, so that's why I'm all over that under. You can straight bet that as well if you want, but as far as how I'm playing it, it's 2-leg parlay, Penn State money line with the under 55.5 here in TCU, Colorado. Moving on to our final pick between the Thursday and Friday games. We got Illinois traveling to Indiana. Indiana is the favorite, laying minus 2.5 here, over under 45.5. Not going to touch that total at all. It opened at 48.5, has moved down a few points here. So something to think about there if you are messing with the total. As far as Illinois, they have covered 5 of their last 6. And Indiana has only covered 1 of their last 10. So that was, based off last season. Indiana was really bad, and I'm expecting them to be bad again. Illinois, they actually already got a game under their belt. They covered in week 1. We took them minus the 13.5, and they came through. They looked pretty solid. And I'm not sure why they are underdogs here. It's actually 1.5 now. My bad. It was 2.5 when I put my notes down. Now it's 1.5. The line has moved a little bit. So I was going to take Illinois on the money line actually at plus 128. But that's now came down to plus 108. Still on money line. It's probably a line that will keep moving, so try to get on it as soon as you can. Illinois money line, that's a straight play right there, plus 108. And we'll move on to Saturday now. Big slate, of course. Saturday is tons of fun from noon till dawn. Just know I'm going to be on the right side of Hawaii this time, late night. But yeah, starting off with the noon games. We're going to go with NC State at East Carolina. NC State is the favorite on the road here, laying 11.5 points. Over-unders at 51.5. Their last matchup was back in 2019. NC State won that game 34-6, so they won it handedly. They are on the road this time here a few years later. Looking at some trends, NC State 5-1 against the spread, their last 6 against the American Athletic Conference, and they are 4-2 against the spread, their last 6 Week 1 games. East Carolina 1-4 against the spread, their last 5 against the ACC, and 1-5 against the spread, their last 6 Week 1 games. All over NC State. I took their over for their win total on the year. I believe it was 8.5 on that. Minus 11.5 here. I think it should be closer to 13-14, if not more. So yeah, we're all over NC State minus 11.5 here. If you want to throw them in teasers, get them down a few more points, that's fine. But I absolutely love NC State minus 11.5. Take it as a straight play. I might even throw it in some parlays as well. We have Rutgers at Boston College. Boston College was laying 7.5, but it did move to 6.5. Laying a little juice at minus 122, but that is not bad at all. I'd have no problem laying that. But yeah, I'm going to be all over Boston College minus the 6.5 here. Even if it goes back to 7.5, I'd still take it. I think they should win this game by at least 2 touchdowns, if not more. The over-under is 47.5. I was leaning towards the under, but probably not going to actually take anything on that total. So their last matchup was in 2019, and Boston College was favored by a similar amount, minus 7.5, and it was actually at Rutgers, and Boston College won and they covered. 30-16 was the final, so they covered that spread. This time they are at home, and I think they're pretty solid. Phil Jerkovich at quarterback, man, I really like him a lot. He's been banged up the last couple of years. Been a tough ride for him, a guy that probably should have been in the NFL by now, but I think he will have a good start to the year here, and Boston College will take care of business at home against Rutgers. Boston College 6-2 against the spread last 8 September games, 10-0 straight up their last 10 head-to-head against Rutgers. So, I mean, who knows how far back that goes, but yeah, just know they take care of business when they play Rutgers. And they are also 4-1 against the spread their last 5 Week 1 games. So yeah, just Boston College, lock that one up, man. That's a good one. Moving on now, we got a bit of a homer pick here, but I mean it's a good one. I like it a lot. We got Colorado State traveling to the Big House at number 8 Michigan. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lay Michigan minus the 30.5. It was 31.5, 30.5. It's kind of bouncing back and forth, but yeah, I got it at minus 30.5. I think they can cover that. I'm thinking like a 48-10 type of game here, which is another reason why I will also be taking the under of 61.5 on this game. So yeah, Colorado State 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 Week 1 games. Michigan is 4-1 against the spread their last 5 in September. Not going to go through a whole lot else here. It's just mostly a homer thing, but I mean it should hit. Michigan should cover that. If anything, I'd be more worried about the under than Michigan covering in case Michigan decides to score 60 themselves. But yeah, I'm thinking like a 48-10 game here. And we'll move along to the last noon game I have here. North Carolina at Appalachian State. So it was a pick'em. At first it was completely even, minus 110 each way. Then it moved a tiny little bit. App State slight dog, minus 108 here. The last time these teams played was 2019. Appalachian State won that game 34-31. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with that over-under 55.5 there. The total trends mostly say all over both ways, but yeah, I'm not going to mess with it. My play here is going to be App State money line, man. I like them at home. I think North Carolina was quite underwhelming last season with a better team than what they have now. So I think it's going to be tough for them to go on the road here. Of course, I believe they already have a game under their belt. They had a easy little cupcake in week 0, that is. But yeah, I'm going to go App State money line at home. North Carolina is 0-4 against the spread their last 4 non-conference games. And 1-7-1 against the spread their last 9 week 1 games. They were bad on the road last season, on the road here. App State don't really have too many good early season trends for them, but they were good at home last season. Good little note there. I just feel good about this App State team this year, and definitely not good about the North Carolina team. Yeah, we'll move on now. We got a little game here at 2:30. Talking Eastern Standard Time, by the way, so that way no one gets confused. But yeah, we're going to go to Southern Cal, Los Angeles. Bowling Green is getting 23.5 at UCLA. And it was bouncing between 23.5 and 24.5. When I seen that, I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and just get the 23.5 in before it goes back, because I definitely like that much better than 24.5. Probably better to just throw this in a teaser, though, get it back down somewhere between like 17 to 19. But I do like UCLA to take care of business here. I don't really have a whole lot of notes. The over-under is 57.5. Not going to mess with anything there. But yeah, Bowling Green's just not a good team. They have an over-under win total this year at 4.5, so it's pretty low for being in the MAC. They're definitely going to lose this game. Question is, can they keep it within 3 scores? I think they possibly could, but I just don't see it happening. UCLA at home, man, open the year strong. Let's just go out, run up the score. Minus 23.5 UCLA, run it. And then at 3:30, it's got a big game here. Number 23 Cincinnati travels to Arkansas. Arkansas is the favorite here, laying 6.5 points. Over under 51.5. I'm going to be all over Cincinnati here, man. If they were at home, I would be slamming the money line. Of course, but they'd probably be more of a pick-em, maybe a slight dog. But on the road here, man, plus 6.5. I'm not worried about it being at Arkansas. I think Arkansas is going to take a step back, as they were surprisingly solid last year. Like, I thought they would be, decent and whatnot. SEC's tough, but last year they were a lot better. More so in the beginning of the year. But yeah, they lose Traylon Burks, top receiver. I think they lost a couple guys on defense as well. Maybe on the O-line. I'm not quite so sure. Cincinnati, of course, they lose Desmond Ridder, their quarterback, and a few top-tier talents on defense. Of course, Sauce Gardner at corner. So that's tough, Lots of change there, but this is more of a field bet for me. I think even if Cincy don't win, they definitely keep this close. I think they are definitely a better team than Arkansas going into this season. So yeah, we'll take Cincy plus 6.5. They are 8-3 against the spread their last 11 non-conference, and 5-2 against the spread their last 7 September games. Moving on, another 3:30 game. Number 24 Houston is going to travel to University of Texas San Antonio. Houston is the favorite on the road here, laying 4.5. And that's where we're going to go. We're going to take them minus 4.5. They're 7-1 in their last 8 straight up against Conference USA. So yeah, you'll have to lay 4.5 there. I might consider double result, but of course FanDuel is super delayed on getting some of the lines out. Like, a lot of the Saturday games, you can only take the base lines right now. some of the games for Thursday and Friday, you can get alternate lines or, double result. Which, by the way, if you don't know what that is, double result, simply just the team has to win the first half and the full game, or if you want to get crazy, you can pick one team to win the first half, then the other team to win the full game, but that's not how I do it. Like, for instance here, Houston minus 4.5, I do think they will cover this, that's why I'm going to give it out as that play. But personally, like in parlays and stuff, I would probably throw double result. So, basically, I do that, where the money line here for full game is like minus 190-ish right now. If you do double result, doing halftime, full time, it'll probably get you closer to probably minus 120, maybe better. But that's all double result I use it for, is just to get slightly better odds than like a full game money line, or rather take that than lay 3.5, 4.5 points. But yeah, I'm not worried about it here. We'll go ahead and take Houston minus the 4.5. Didn't really have too much else wrote down for that game. I do like UTSA. I know they were really good at home last year, but I'm very high on Houston this season, man. I took their over 9.5 wins this year. I think they get 10 easy. I think it's a team that could go undefeated. I got them winning the American Athletic Conference. So, yeah, Houston minus 4.5. Let's go. In another game here at 3:30, we got Tulsa laying 6.5 on the road at Wyoming. Wyoming played in week 1 against Illinois, and they got beat pretty handedly. And that's what I expected. Wyoming's just not a very good team right now. Like, they were pretty solid, if you didn't know. They had Josh Allen, Bill's quarterback. You know that guy? Yeah, he played at Wyoming. But yeah, nevertheless, Tulsa minus 6.5 is going to be my play here. The over-under was 44.5. I got nothing as far as the total there. The last time these two teams played was 2019, and Tulsa was at home for that one. They won 24-21. This time they're on the road, laying 6.5. They covered 5 straight the end of the year last year, and then Wyoming got them 3-6 against the spread their last 9 week 1 games. So yeah, not a whole lot here. Just one of the things I feel good about. I like Tulsa a lot. I think they could have a solid year, probably around 7 wins or so. The last 3:30 game we touch on here is going to be a big one. But I'm just going to tell you right now, I do not have a pick on this game. There's just a lot of unknown that I need to see. It's a game I want to watch and enjoy without having to worry about a pick, So, yeah, number 11 Oregon is going against number 3 Georgia, the reigning national champion. Should be a good matchup. Georgia is laying 16.5 though. It's a neutral site. Basically a home game for Georgia, though. It's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. It's where the Falcons play. It's part of the Chick-fil-A kickoff for opening weekend. But yeah, Georgia, they are 4-1 against the spread their last 5 against non-conference. 4-1 against the spread their last 5 neutral site. So that's a good one to look at there. Oregon, 2-4 against the spread their last 6 as a dog. 1-4 against the spread their last 5 non-conference. And 3-7 against the spread their last 10 neutral site. So going off all those trends, it definitely says take Georgia all day. But the reason I'm not doing that is because they lost dang near their whole defense. And yeah, I know it's Georgia. They got more dogs ready to go. But will they still be as good? I'm not sure. On the flip side, Oregon, man, you know who their new quarterback is? It's Bo Nix. That's right, Bo Nix from Auburn, transferred to Oregon, trying to get away from these SEC schools. Well, guess what, buddy? Here's Georgia. Week 1, buddy. It's going to be tough. I think Oregon could keep it close. It's just one of those games, man, where Georgia could just do the same thing they did last year with a whole new defense. But yeah, like I said, I don't have a pick here, man. I just wanted to go over those trends for you. They say take Georgia. So, they're going to have a lot of the crowd there in their favor. Atlanta is in Georgia, by the way, if you didn't know. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Yes, it's a neutral site, but basically a home game for Georgia. And their trends just are good for neutral site as well, where Oregon's are not. So, yeah, moving on. Next pick. It's a 6 o'clock game. We're going to Mid-Tennessee State, who is getting plus 5.5 there at James Madison. Now, James Madison, this is their first year as a Division I single A school. So keep an eye on them throughout the year. I'm surprised that they have them favored here. I know it's a good program and all that, but Mid-Tennessee State is a team that I'm high on going into this year. I took them over 5.5 wins on the season, and I'm going to take them with the 5.5 points here. Honestly, I want to take a money line, but I'll be smart here, man. It's week 1. Let's just be smart. Maybe if you want to throw a little wild underdog parlay out there, consider Mid-Tennessee State, man. But yeah, I'm taking them officially on the plus 5.5 at minus 108. Don't really have any notes other than that, though. I just feel good about Mid-Tennessee State. James Madison, you're about to get welcomed, man, to Division I single A. Over-under, by the way, 58.5. Don't want anything to do with it. Moving on to the 7 o'clock slate. First, we'll go with Liberty at Southern Miss. Liberty is laying 3.5 as the favorite on the road. Over-under, 49.5. Last time these two teams played, Liberty last season, or no, not last season, 2020, Liberty 56, Southern Miss 35. So Liberty beat them pretty easily. And here, for whatever reason, they're only laying 3.5. I know they're not going to be as good as they were last year. Of course, you lose Malik Willis, but they did pick up in the transfer portal Charlie Brewer, who has been around. It's hard to keep track of some of these guys these days. Transfer portal's crazy, man. But yeah, Charlie Brewer was pretty solid at Baylor. Then went to Utah last year where there was a lot going on there, man. A lot going on, and he got out of there. I think like week 4, week 5, he was like, yeah, I'm out. Gone. So yeah, he is taking over there at Liberty. So they should still be all right on offense as long as he, plays solid enough. Southern Miss, I just don't think they're a solid team at all. They did change conferences this year, first year in the Sun Belt. Looking at some trends, Liberty is 7-3 against the spread their last 10 against the Sun Belt, and they are 8-1 straight up their last 9 September games. Southern Miss 1-8 against the spread their last 9 in September, 1-4 against the spread their last 5 at home. Yeah, so I'm on Liberty, man. The trends say to take them. My gut said to take them. When I saw it was 3.5, I was very surprised. I thought it would be more around the 8 to 10, 11 range, somewhere up there. I guess I understand, Southern Miss is at home, but yeah, Liberty, man. That's all there is to it. We'll move on, man. Liberty minus 3.5, minus 105. Another 7 o'clock game. Pretty big one here. Number 7, Utah travels to the Swamp, taking on Florida. Utah is the favorite on the road, laying 2.5. A little juicy there, minus 122, but don't worry about that at all. Just take it. Just take it, man. Utah, if you watched the season preview video, I'm pretty high on Utah, man. I think they're going to win their conference. I think they have a chance to go undefeated, all sorts of stuff, man. I took them over their win total, which was, I think, 8.5, which is, I don't know, it might have been 9.5. Either way, they're going over, man. And they're going to win this game. Now, in parlays, just run money line. There's no reason not to. If the double result comes out, it'll be solid odds, probably plus 100, plus 110, plus 120, somewhere in there. Any way you want to take this team, just do it. Now, as far as the total, it's over under 51.5. I'm not going to mess with it. If I had to lean one way or another, I'd go under because I think Utah's defense is going to be good in this game. I like their D. Florida, their offense can get going at times, but their end of the year last year was just rough, man. Florida is just in shambles right now. But yeah, Utah, they've won 13 in a row week 1 games. So, I mean, why not make it 14 in a row? Florida, 0-7 against the spread their last 7 non-conference, 1-4 against the spread the last 5 week 1, 0-4 against the spread their last 4 at home. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to tell you. Utah, man, I think they win this by double digits, honestly. Like, I probably shouldn't keep talking like this. I'll put bad juju on me. You know, they are on the road. Whatever, the Swamp's tough. I don't care. Utah is just a way better team than Florida. Give me Utah minus 2.5. Money line, double result. However you want to take it. Take Utah, man. All right, probably one of the biggest matchups of the weekend. A top 5 matchup here. 7:30 kickoff. We got number 5 Notre Dame traveling to Ohio. You know, the Buckeyes. Those guys down there, down south. Over-under is 59.5. Ohio State is the home favorite, of course, laying 17.5 points. So that is a lot. You probably think that's crazy. You think, oh, number 5 versus number 2? 17.5? That's insane. Yeah, I don't think it's that insane. I will note here their last matchup was a playoff game in 2016 where OSU was only favored by 4.5 and they won 44-28. But yeah, going on here. Notre Dame, you know, they got the new coach, Marcus Freeman. I like him a lot, but it's a lot to learn. Being a head coach is a lot different from being a D coordinator or linebackers coach, whatever the case may be. It's going to be tough for Notre Dame. Right off the bat, you got to go to Columbus, man. Like, good luck. Ohio State 5-2-1 against the spread their last 8 September games, and Notre Dame, I don't have anything there. 7-2 the last 9 against the Big Ten. So they're actually solid against the Big Ten, but I'd assume that's mostly just like Michigan State. It's been quite a few years now since they played Michigan, and I don't know who else it'd be, but probably Purdue. So yeah, take that 7-2 against Big Ten with a grain of salt, man. Ohio State wasn't mixed in there at all, I'll tell you that's for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take the Ohio State minus 17.5. I'm very high on them this year, and I am a Michigan fan, so I'm a huge Michigan fan. Like, I hate Ohio State, like absolutely hate them. Like, I've never been anywhere near Columbus because I think bad things would happen. But yeah. This is just my way of telling you if I'm confident in Ohio State minus 17.5, that tells you it's probably good to go. Like, I just think they're going to come blow the doors off everybody this year. They're probably going to score 60. Book the over 59.5. Even if they don't, say they score high 40s, maybe in the 50s, Notre Dame gets 17 to 24, you're going over. So we're also going to be on that over 59.5 there. But yeah, the over for Ohio State has actually hit in their last 5 week 1 games. So yeah, I might as well just keep it going there. Definitely going to be a fun one to watch. Hopefully, maybe Notre Dame keeps it a little entertaining for the first half, and Ohio State, second half, they'll turn on the Jets. Move on now. 8 o'clock. Louisville travels to Syracuse. Louisville is the road favorite, laying 4.5 points here, over under 56.5. Syracuse is 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 at home. Also 5-1 against the spread their last 6 in September. And they covered 8 straight last season before they didn't cover the last 3. So they didn't cover 3 straight to end the year, but the 8 before that, they got those. So it's a team I was on a lot last year, so that's mostly why I'm on this one. I looked into it earlier. A lot of the trends were saying Louisville, like the last 3 matchups, Louisville has destroyed Syracuse. They've won 8 of the last 10 head-to-heads. I think the last time Syracuse beat them was 2018. Yeah, that sounds right. But yeah, Louisville, They've been beating Syracuse pretty bad in the last few years, but it's just one of those bets. Like if there's one that you shouldn't tail, it's probably this one. It's a team I liked to bet on last year, and I'm gonna try to ride them into this season. I took them over 4.5 wins on the year. I'll take them plus 4.5 here at home. They don't gotta win. I'd love to see them win, but I do like this Louisville team too. So it's just a tough one to mess with. But I had it wrote down, man. It's week 1. We'll let it go. We'll take Syracuse plus 4.5. All right, going into the late night, 10:30 kickoff. Got Kent State laying 23.5 at Washington. Over-under is 59.5. Now, I'm not sure if anybody remembers what happened last year in week 1, but I definitely remember. Washington was hosting the Montana Grizzlies, and they lost 13-7 at home to, that's right, FCS Montana. It was insane. Now, I'm not saying that they're about to lose to Kent State, but to have Washington laying 23.5 after, what'd they go last year, 4-8? Come on, man. I don't know. I'm taking Kent State plus 23.5. I don't love it by any means. If there's a play that I love here, it's actually the under of that 59.5. If you like Kent State to cover, it probably goes under. Because I don't see a game where it becomes a shootout. I don't see Washington scoring a lot of points. So, under 59.5 here. Kent State plus 23.5. Look at Washington is 1-4 against the spread. Their last 5 at home. And as far as Kent State trends, they weren't very good. So, didn't really note anything there, man. It's just one of those field bets. I think Washington stinks. They'll be better than they were last year, but come on. 23.5, that's a lot of points. So as far as the under trends, Washington's under has went 12-3 in their last 15 September games. Pretty solid, but large sample size, but hey, that's only 3 unders in the last 5 or 4 years or so in September. And it's also went under in their last 4 straight non-conference games. And Kent State's last 5 non-conference games, 4 of the 5 went under. And their last 4 in September have all went under for Kent State. So yeah, lots of good under trends here. I was on it before I even looked at the trends, and then I seen that, and I was like, oh, I like that more than the Kent State spread now. So yeah. Kent State plus 23.5. Under 59.5. I like them both. Playing them both straight. I will also be throwing the under 59.5, maybe in some teasers, some parlays. But Kent State, that's just a sole play itself on the plus 23. And then the late night, midnight start. Western Kentucky, minus 15.5 at Hawaii. Over under 67.5. So, week 1, Western Kentucky did play. They actually did not cover as they struggled and only won 38-27 against Austin Peay. They turned the ball over 3 times. That's tough, I'm not sure. Obviously, it wasn't televised, so I didn't get to see much. Not sure if they're trying to figure out some stuff with that offense. Maybe got some confusion, causing turnovers, but either way, I expect them to clean that up. Got a game under their belt. Traveling to Hawaii, man. And if you didn't know, in week 0, we took Hawaii plus 9.5. And yeah, they were looking okay first half. It was down 21-10. Second half starts, they give up 42 unanswered. And all that means is I will pretty much be fading Hawaii probably almost every single game the rest of the season. Western Kentucky, they'd probably be favored by more if they didn't struggle in week 0. But I don't care about that game, man. They're 4-1 against the spread their last 5 against non-conference, 8-3 against the spread their last 11 September games. Hawaii 1-5 against the spread their last 6 against the Conference USA, or also against non-conference, also 1-5 in the last 6 against the spread. And they are 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 games following a double-digit home loss. We're all over it, man. We'll take Western Kentucky minus 15.5. Not even going to worry about it. Even if Hawaii covers, I don't care. I'm just going to continue to fade them as the season goes on. So, yeah, Western Kentucky minus 15.5. That is the pick there. If you want to mess with the over, both teams have good over trends. I'm not going to mess with it, though. You'd be counting on Western Kentucky to score a lot of points because I'm not expecting Hawaii to get too many. Now, with it being week 1, of course we have a Sunday game and a Monday game since, we don't have NFL yet. So they sneak a game in there. The Sunday game, Florida State is taking on LSU. LSU is 3.5-point favorites right now. I'm expecting this line to move, though, because I don't like laying 3.5. I'd much rather lay 2.5, maybe even 3. But for now, I'm not going to give out an official pick on this because I want to wait to see if that does move to 2.5. Now, you can always go to another book that has alternate lines or wait to see if FanDuel puts out the alternate lines for this game, which I'm expecting they probably will on Saturday. If not Sunday, they should definitely have it up by then. Take a minus 2.5. I definitely like them by at least a field goal here. Now, it's a neutral site game, but basically home game for LSU as it is at the Caesars Superdome, which is where the New Orleans Saints play. It's part of the All-State Louisiana kickoff here. Over-under's 51.5. Real quick, both teams have good over trends there for the neutral site games and week 1 games. So if you want to keep that in mind, the over sounds good for both teams, week 1 neutral site wise. Now, LSU 5-0 straight up in their last 5 against the ACC. 11-2 straight up their last 13 in September. 4-1 against the spread their last 5 on Sunday. Now take that with a grain of salt because how often do teams get to play on Sunday in college? Like, very, very rare. Just figured I'd throw it in there, And they are 5-1 against the spread last 6 neutral site games. That's a big one there. I like that a lot. Now, I'm sure a lot of their neutral site games happen to be in this same place. Basically a home game, man. But, yeah, Florida State 1-4 straight up their last 5 against the SEC. 0-6 straight up their last 6 September games. So, yeah, I'm expecting Florida State to be a little better this year than they've been. They've fallen off quite a lot lately. It's kind of wild to see. Usually it was always between them and Clemson for ACC for quite some time. But yeah, we're going to be on LSU here, man. Be on the lookout on Twitter. I'll give out the official pick on there. I will probably end up going double result. Of course, it's not available yet. If you want to make something with them right now, like maybe throw their money line and some parlays, but I'm not going to be parlaying them with anything since they're a standalone Sunday game. I'll just take that up by itself. But yeah, stay on the lookout on Twitter. I'll definitely put out the pick on there. And we'll move on to the final game of week 1 on Monday. Number 4 Clemson against Georgia Tech. Clemson is laying 22.5 here as the favorite. Here's another neutral site, and it's another game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They have one there on Saturday as well, that Georgia-Oregon game. So a big weekend there in Atlanta. Another part of the Chick-fil-A kickoff. So I do not have a pick on this one. If I had to pick one, though, I'll go Clemson for sure. I'd go Clemson. Last year, Clemson was favored by 27.5 points at home against Georgia Tech. And they only won 14-8. I remember watching that game. It was insane, man. Like, watching Clemson all last year was insane. Such a down year for them. Like, they still went, I believe it was 9-3. And, their offense just looked terrible. Defense still pretty solid though. Like they were an under machine. They're just take their games for unders. Whoever they're going against last year, just take the other side, take the dog with the points. They was hitting like crazy, man. Now I'm not saying that that's going to happen this year. A lot of people expecting Clemson to bounce back. I mean, hey, they're number 4 to start the year. They're laying 22.5 neutral site against a team that only lost to them by 6 in their own house last year. And by the way, Georgia Tech is in Georgia. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is in Georgia. So yeah, Clemson's fan base obviously a lot stronger right now, so I'm sure they'll show out just fine. Not worried about too much of a home field advantage for Georgia Tech. But it is something to consider though, you know. They don't have to really travel for it where Clemson head down the road, you know, from South Carolina. But yeah, I don't really have too much wrote down. Like I said, I'm not taking a pick here. Clemson, to note, 0-7 against the spread last 7 September games. That's rough. Georgia Tech, 5-1-1 last 7 against the spread neutral site games. I really wouldn't hate going either way on this one. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Clemson wins 17-7. I wouldn't be surprised if Clemson wins 42-20. I mean, it could go any way. Remember how I mentioned last year's game, Clemson 14-8. If you want to go back a year before that, Clemson went to Georgia Tech and won 73-7. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. It's one of those ones I just want to see Clemson. I want to see that offense. I know the defense is going to be dang good. Georgia Tech stinks. Clemson should cover, but I'm not going to lay 22.5 with them week 1 after they just couldn't cover it all last year. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up, man. That's pretty much all the picks. There's a lot of other games, of course, that I did not go over. It just would take way too much time, so I figure I'll just focus on, the games that I took. I might, I'll scan through real quick, see if there's any I want to mention. That Arizona at San Diego State one is kind of weird. I don't understand it. Arizona's terrible. San Diego State was very, very good last year, but the way they win games, they don't really try to blow teams out. They just kind of get a lead, then get comfortable, play their amazing defense that they got, and just settle in, get the dub. It's just I know San Diego State probably won't be as good as they were last year, but Arizona was garbage last year. Probably going to be garbage again this year. So I wouldn't hate laying that 5.5 there with San Diego State, or maybe throw them in a teaser, get them down to basically a pick 'em or -1.5, somewhere in there. But I'm just staying away from it completely because of that spread. I don't understand why it's 5.5. I guess we'll find out Saturday. But yeah, that's just one I wanted to touch on there. BYU -11.5 at South Florida. I think it might have moved to 12.5 now, but I would consider taking BYU. I know they are on the road here at South Florida, but South Florida is not a very good program right now. They've been good at times, but it's just like random every once in a while. That'd be solid. Now they did pick up transfer QB Jerry Bohannon from Baylor, who isn't like great by any means, but I like him. I like how he plays. He's a bigger dude. He can move a little bit. But yeah, I don't think he's like going to come in and solve all the problems South Florida has. BYU, a lot of people are high on them this year. I think they're ranked 25th to start the year. And I'm sort of indifferent on them right now. It's kind of a wait and see for me when it comes to BYU. But I wouldn't hate taking them to cover this. Like I could see it happening. Oh, Texas State at Nevada. That game moved a lot. Nevada, I believe, opened as like 8-point favorites, and now it's a pick'em, which is absolutely insane. I really, really, really wanted to take Texas State, but I'm not going to do it. Nevada was nice for us in week 0. They, came through and covered for us. But yeah, just wanted to mention that line movement. There's been quite a few games where the lines move like crazy. I mean, you'll see it a lot more in the beginning of the year, of course, but college football, man, These lines just be all over the place sometimes. USC minus 32.5 is insane against Rice. Like, that's a lot of points. I know Rice stinks. USC is supposed to be great this year all of a sudden. But, I mean, what'd they win, 4 or 5 games last year? Come on. Lots of change. Yeah, I know their offense is supposed to be high-powered, but that is a lot of points to ask them to cover in their first game with new system, so much new. Like, of course, I don't have no sort of pick there, but, USC is a wait-and-see type of team. I want to see what they do. Army at Coastal Carolina is a big one, man. I like both of these teams. I see it seems like most people are, like, on Coastal to, like, win easily, it seems like. I know they have a quarterback that's been there a few years now. I can't think of his name, of course. For some reason, I want to say it's, like, Cooper or something. Might be wrong. I don't know. Either way, Coastal's minus 2.5. This makes sense. This line makes sense, I think. Army, very good run team. Very, very good run team. The over-under 54.5. Like, I don't know. Coastal Carolina usually likes to run up tempo. Army, though, with all that running, clock will be running as well. So it's just a tough game to really find a way to take it. Like, if I had to choose a side, I'd take Coastal just because they're at home, and I'd just take a money line, which minus 132 is pretty solid. But yeah, definitely one to watch though. Like, if that game ends up being a blowout one way or another, that team will probably end up having a real good year, I think. I like Tulane this year. They could be all right. But laying 28.5, that's insane. I know it's against UMass, but whew. Kentucky minus 16.5 at home against Miami of Ohio. Keep an eye out there. I think Miami of Ohio could keep that close. Like, Kentucky should be solid again this year. I think they are ranked to start this season. I think maybe number 20, number 16 or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think they win the game for sure, but I don't think they blow them out. SMU at North Texas is another good one, man. There's a lot of good games, man, but I didn't want to force too many. It is week 1. I think I ended up with like 20 or 21 picks or so, but yeah, SMU laying 11.5 in North Texas is a good one. Over under 68.5 is insane. You got SMU super high tempo, gonna throw the ball a lot, run up the score, whereas North Texas is another team that likes to run a lot, be running the clock out, man. Usually run teams are better for unders, so that's very high for a game like this. Wouldn't even hate North Texas plus 11.5 there. Just at home. They played last week in week 0, so just some things to consider, man. Like I said, I don't have actually any picks on those. But say you run teasers, that 68.5. Tease that up and go under. Under 73.5 or something, man. That should easily hit. Now, of course, there's a chance this game could end up 50-30, but I don't know. It's early in the year, man. SMU could have some wrinkles that they got to figure out. So, I don't know. You never know. Just throwing some things out there before we wrap things up. I will be keeping an eye on South Carolina there. Spencer Rattler is their new quarterback. Laying 12.5 at home against Georgia State. It's one of those ones where I got to see what the team looks like. You know what I mean? I'm not going to mess with the game at all. I see a lot of people are actually on Georgia State from what I've seen. But yeah, I'm just gonna watch it, see how the South Carolina team looks. Georgia State is a team that I might possibly be on later throughout the year, especially if they're going to be dogs. Alabama minus 42.5. I mean, I would not be surprised if they win by 60. If you like them to cover 42.5, I think the better play would be to just take the over. Because Utah State, maybe they get a field goal, maybe they get a touchdown, and then Alabama, if they cover this, I'm sure they'll score in the 60s. Texas, that's a huge spread. UL Monroe is complete garbage. 37.5. That's insane, dude. Like, I almost want to take it with ULM, man. Because I'm just not believing in Texas to come in week 1, Quinn Ewers, just to go crazy like that. I mean, they should. They definitely should. And they need to before, next week. They got a lot better team than UL Monroe coming in next week. Boise State plus 2.5 at Oregon State's a huge one, too. I like Boise State. I like Oregon State. This game is one that will really tell the tale of how I will bet these teams throughout the year. Like, I will most likely be on both of these teams throughout the year. But say one of them blows the other out. Maybe it scares me off the other one. But that'll be a good one to watch there, man. If anything, lean Oregon State at home. But I do like Boise, man. That's a good one. Definitely going to be watching that. It's a good late night game. But alright, that's enough, man. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. We will go ahead and recap all the picks real quick. So starting off with the Thursday, Friday games, we have a 2-leg parlay. Penn State money line with TCU, Colorado under 55.5. That's plus 195. Friday, Illinois money line plus 108. Then on Saturday we go NC State minus 11.5, Boston College minus 6.5, Michigan minus 30.5, Colorado State, Michigan under 61.5. App State money line, UCLA minus 23.5, Cincinnati plus 6.5. Tulsa minus 6.5, Houston minus 4.5, Mid Tennessee State plus 5.5, Liberty minus 3.5, Utah minus 2.5, Ohio State minus 17.5, Notre Dame and Ohio State over 59.5, Syracuse plus 4.5, Kent State plus 23.5, Kent State and Washington under the 59.5, Western Kentucky minus 15.5. And LSU, we will be counting that as a pick. We don't have anything listed here, but follow me on Twitter at ZoneInSports. Link in the description. It'll be minus 2.5 or double result, something like that. It's at 3.5 right now, plus 102. So I'm expecting it to go to minus 2.5. If you see LSU go to minus 2.5, just know I'm on that, and you should take it too. But yeah, that's it. That's it for the week 1 picks. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned some stuff. I hope we make some money this week. Let's get the year started off right. And yeah, we'll do a quick little recap next week, and then we'll look into some week 2 lines. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed. Definitely excited to get this season going. But yeah, like I said, I mentioned the Twitter as ZoneInSports, link in the description. Be sure to follow there. I'll update things. Maybe I hop off a pick. Maybe something happens, All sorts of things could go on where I might announce something that a pick changes, or I got a new pick, or anything like that. Or we can, talk on there. Talk in the comments of this video as well. Whatever works for you. Comment on the video. Hit me up on Twitter. Whatever works. Let's go ahead and let's get out of here, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. Appreciate it if you stuck around the whole time. Leave a like on the video and subscribe as well. Hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss a video. We'll be having some NFL previews coming soon. That'll do it. Hope you all have a nice day. Peace.